Welcome back, fourth graders, to day 4 of our unit, Everything Weather, which is our mentor text, to learning about text structures and applying them and identifying them in our reading. Let me remind you of our objectives. Our content objective is that you will be able to identify nonfiction text structures in your reading, and then the language objective is that you will be able to write and discuss about these nonfiction text structures. For homework last night, you made a chart about yourself as a fiction and nonfiction reader. What I want you to do is in the chat, I want you to write down a reflection that you've made. Tell me whether you enjoy reading fiction or nonfiction better and where you read. And this way your classmates can see and maybe get some ideas as to how we can become better readers. Once readers have previewed a text and start reading, they often notice the structure or organization of a text. This is important. Whenever we're looking at a nonfiction text and we're previewing, it's very important that we preview it so we can start thinking about those text structures. And some common text structures are problem and solution, compare and contrast, cause and effect, and chronological order. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to watch the video that's going to explain the compare and contrast and cause and effect. Remember that chronological is sequence. So remember, pay attention to how the text is organized. And let's watch this video. All right, so when we're looking at this particular text structure, the text is organized in a way that you can look at 2 or more items to establish similarities or differences. And this is the compare and contrast. This is an example of what a paragraph in a text that's organized with the text structure of compare and contrast might read like. It is pretty easy to tell the difference between a bee and a wasp. A wasp is thinner and more aggressive than a bee. Bees are plumper and not as aggressive. Wasps will usually hover around food and garbage, whereas bees are more interested in flowers. Did you get those signal words that are included in this paragraph? Signal words like difference or more than or usually or whereas. Those are words that compare and contrast. So now let's read the following titles and make a prediction. Based on the titles, which passage do you think will be organized as a compare and contrast? Saving the Elephants, Supersized Pumpkins, Who Should Be President? If you think C, that's correct, because Who Should Be President is telling me that they're going to give me several options. And these are the signal words that you would see when in a text structure or in a nonfiction text that's organized with the text structure of compare and contrast. Like, unlike, same, either, opposed to, rather, as well as, similarly. looking at cause and effect. So we're looking at what triggers certain events to happen. And this is an example of a cause and effect paragraph in a nonfiction text that would be organized as cause and effect. The wind speed during a hurricane can reach up to 200 miles per hour. These high winds can cause damage to buildings and land. Hurricanes also cause the water to rise in huge waves to hit the coast. These waves and high water levels, called storm surges, cause erosion. Erosion is a breakdown of the land. And again, we're looking at cause and effect. We're looking at what causes certain things, like a chain of effect. And so let's read the following titles and make a prediction. Based on the titles, which passage do you think will be organized as a cause and effect text structure? Saving the Elephants, the Alabama tornado disaster, the Civil Rights Movement. Remember, cause and effect. It might be B or C, or all of them, right? And these are our signal words that will help us identify the text structure of compare and contrast. Because, since, if, then, due to, as a result, for the reason, or an account. All right, fourth graders. So if you remember the video that we watched in the news about the oryx, I want you to think about the most important, and then you already jotted down notes. So I want you to rewatch it now, knowing a little bit about what the text structure, knowing what the text structure is. I want you to make those notes so to see if your list changed from last time to this, from yesterday till today.
Is the pride of the Phoenix Zoo. Well, I think that.
So let's. Okay. So let's watch this again. And remember, take notes, and then we're going to see how it changed from yesterday to today.
Pride of the Phoenix Zoo. Well, I think they're beautiful. Ian Gledhill, visiting from Canada, cannot take his eyes off the animals. I'm surprised how white they are. That's really striking. It's hard to believe the Arabian oryx was almost extinct. Overhunting and a threatened habitat thinned the herds in the Middle East. So the Phoenix Zoo took 9 of the animals in to save them. We established the world herd here back in the early 60s, where most of the animals from the world were brought here. The climate and the terrain in the Sonoran Desert is very similar to the Arabian Peninsula, where they are from. The Arabian oryx has thrived here at the Phoenix Zoo. In the past 45 years, there have been 239 births. Many of the babies went to other zoos, wildlife preserves, and back to the Middle East. Dan Sabatis and a team of zoo vets went to Jordan to see how they were doing. Oh, we found a lot of fat and happy oryx over there. There are now more than 6,000 of the animals in the world, and that's good news. I think that's excellent that zoos like this can play a role in the preservation of animals. The species survival plan benefits everyone, not just the Phoenix Zoo. Diane Ryan, Fox 10.